All right, we are here for the Winter Major. It is Monday's qualifying, aka practice round in the rookie division, and we'll go check these holes out. I still haven't picked up hole number 8. Haven't seen it at all, and I've only played hole number three times. I'm working out a max overpower hook shot on hole number 3. It's like doing artillery. I was off to the right. I made a massive overcorrection to the left to see where the left edge was, to know where my range was. And then on my third attempt, I finally hit the spot, but actually overdrove. And so I still haven't worked out exactly what I'm going to do on 3. And like I said, I haven't seen 8. So we'll see what we got here. So hole number 1 of Sharuba Springs. Now I posted a max overpower hook shot where I ended up down in this area right here. And I was right up against these rocks right here. I was right up against the edge of these rocks. The thing that worries me there is I just barely missed a tree that's out here with that max overpower hook shot, but it did bleed me up here very nicely and put me into mid short iron range. If you're out in this tip or if you're up in here, you're going to more than likely be in long iron range. So I'm not sure whether that max overpower hook shot is a good shot or not. I just did that. I was just dinking around when I was out there playing and hit it. So I'm not sure. I think the safe way to go with this is to probably just drive up into this zone right here. But elevation wise, here's the green, here's this spot, and then here's this spot. So as far as elevation wise goes, when you see the numbers come out in the community of, we're going to add on 10% or we're going to add on 20 or whatever, are they talking about this spot? Because this spot is higher than this spot. So if they're talking about adding on 10 from this spot, then this spot right here is going to be different because there is elevation changes out here. So not sure. When I see those numbers, I always take them with a grain of salt. I'm like everybody else. I see the numbers floating around. My team puts them out. Let everybody on the team know that there's some elevation adjustments that we should be cognizant of. Whether we use those numbers based on our landing zone and what we're playing is one thing, but knowing that they're out there. So let's go check it out. All right. What am I going to take here? I haven't fully decided. I think the safe way to play this hole, consistency wise, what we're looking for here, and like I said, I haven't played all of the holes. So when we talk about minimum scores, my teammates have been asking me about minimum scores. It looks like, we can always start off with minus 12. And there's one of the par fours that we should be able to get on in one. And if not on, we're right there off the green where we have a serious chance of getting an eagle, and we really need to pick that eagle up. So that puts us at minus 13. But hole number 3 is going to be problematic unless we can figure out some repeatable way for us to get eagle on that hole. That hole is going to be some long shot coming in for eagle, and that puts us back down to minus 12. So as it stands right now, minus 12 is our minimum score. And when we're playing new holes, it's super important that we focus on this minus 12. Do we want to come to this hole and get an eagle? Absolutely. But is that our number one goal here? No, our number one goal here is to maintain this minus 12 and start. If you start the week off in your qualifying round with a minus 12 and you shoot a minus 24 in your opening round, going into the weekend round, and you will absolutely positively make the weekend round. Going into the weekend round, you're going to have really good tiebreakers with these minimum scores. And as the week goes on, you can continue to work on, because this drive shot's not the shot. The shot is the shot from here up to the cup. We want to give ourselves on every single hole a very good shot of coming in here and getting eagle. The next hole, very good shot of coming up and getting a hole in one. The next shot, very good shot of coming up and getting an eagle. And so we want to put ourselves in the right spot so that we have 18 shots of putting it in the hole, but we're maintaining this minimum score. So as it stands right now, it looks like it's a minus 12 just because of hole number 3, dropping us back into the brown stuff. So let's think here. I think safety wise, and for most people, especially if you've got lower developed stuff, the safe play is to just drive down into this hole. There are some lamp posts out on the course in this that are in play, and they've put them in spots that are where you're doing your line here and it's right next to it. So if you hit a great to the left, great to the right, bam, you're hitting the flagpole, which is not a problem if you've got upper developed clubs. But if you've got lower developed clubs and you hit that first flagpole that's out there, you're going to be in a spot where you won't be able to get up and down. So be aware that all of those lampposts are in play. I don't usually play golf courses that have lamp posts on them, but in Golf Clash we do. So let's check our bags out here. I have no idea exactly what clubs I'm going to take here. I know I want to have a Grizzly and a Hornet in case I get into my long and short iron range. So let's make sure I just got a Grizzly and a Hornet in every bag. Big Topper might be a good choice on that hole. Make sure I have a Spitfire in every bag. I was messing around and I had a Castaway in one of my bags, which wasn't good. Now, the key here is that we'd really like to have a little bit of wind when we get up on that next shot. I don't think we need a lot of side spin here, so I'm gonna think about taking one of these turkey balls. See if I can get up in the hole. I'll drop the wind down a little bit. All right, let's go. Let's roll. Let's see if we can wake up. I just got up, started playing. I'm on my first cup of coffee. Making sure I'm recording. All right. The Winter Major. Da-na-na-na. I'm getting this a lot where the opponent's disconnecting. And it seems like it's taking a long time to go from the splash screen here out onto the course. And you see the trajectory that we'd like to take. That lamppost is right there. Definitely not interested in ending up in the rough. Whether you have upper or lower developed clubs, getting into the rough on these holes is not beneficial. As my nephew would say, it's no bueno. I'm going to do 4 topspin. See if that's too much. Yeah, that might be too much. Do 3.5. Is that putting me? Yeah, that might be a little too less. Do 5.5. We'll take the wind out. It's 2.1 per ring. So that's a 1 ring pull. Put a little bit of curl just to bring it back towards the center of the fairway. And I hit it 70 rings great to the right. And now I'm going to end up in the rough. Look at that. First shot on the new course on a practice day and end up in the rough. What kind of dinking around stuff is that? Coffee. That's the deal. I just can't believe that. What's wrong with you? But you can easily get up and down from there. Our community is cracking me up. I was looking for these images. I had the images. My teammates sent them to me. They were on Golf Clash Elite the first day right after the tournament was announced. These high res images, and I've been out there. I couldn't find them, and I really want to end up right there. This is the shot that we were looking for. And I've just reading through some posts and seeing some posts on there. I am absolutely amazed. I've seen several people post on there about clubs one person posted their bag and said, "Hey, if I play with these clubs in rookie, would I be a D bag?" And how many people in that post? And there was another post that was talking about sand wedges. Where are we at in our club? Right at minimum club with the Hornet, which is 1.75 per ring at min, is the way I play it. So 1.75, so we're just slightly over a ring. And people talking about the Spitfire and saying, "Oh yeah, he had a level 5 Spitfire. Oh, that level 5 Spitfire is garbage. You should be using a Malibu until you get your Spitfire up to like level 7." And I'm thinking, are you guys? I mean, I don't know who your dealer is, but they must have some really good stuff. And I saw another post on there where people were talking about sand wedges, and everybody was like, "The Spitfire sucks. It's like the worst." And I'm like, "What bag are you guys playing?" All right, that was hole number one. That was not the way we want to do that. We want to end up there in the tip of that. And I know I've shot that hole enough times that if you hit it perfect, it goes in the cup with just a regular wind adjustment. I haven't really had to make any additions or anything on the shot coming into the cup. And I do think that shot going straight forward is probably going to be, if you get all the way up into the tip there, you can see I was right on the transition between my short iron and my long iron. So if I get the topspin worked out to get up to the front of that tip, if you've got a 3-power ball, you should be able to get into your short iron range. So if you're up here at the tip, you should be in short iron range when you're up in this, like somewhere up in this area where you're at your transition. I laid it up and I was about in this area right here, somewhere in that range, and was right there at the transition. So if you get all the way to the tip up here and you've got a 3-power ball, you could be in your max wedge, or excuse me, max short iron. And that would be a really good place to be. So that was hole number one. Now, while we're here, for those of you that are watching my videos, Golf Clash Notebook, no center, horizontal line, I'm going to be using a grid this week. And you ask yourself, well, why are you using a grid? I'm using a grid, and here's the deal. Here's the reason. If you have an Apple device, the little bus, in your programming, in your accessibility programming, you have a grid that you can put on the screen that is an inherent part of your iOS. And Golf Clash, PD, Warner Brothers, anybody who owns that is not going to go to Apple and say, hey, you need to get that grid off of there. Apple's going to tell them to go pound sand. And that is an inherent part of your guys' programming. You don't have to get a third-party app in order to give you grid software. So if it's part of your inherent programming, and that's part of the deal, that's part of the deal. And it's not against Playdemic's terms of service to use these apps or to use a grid. So I'm going to use a grid. That's it. I thought about it for the last couple of weeks. I used the grid, and then I have done some more research, and I'm going to use it because if you have an Apple device, you can do that. Now, I'm sure that there are some of you out there with your Apple device going, well, I can't use that grid because I can't get that iOS. That's your problem. That's part of Apple's marketing plan is they take a device that's 3 or 4 years old, and when they come out with the new iOS, they take perfectly good hardware and they make that perfectly good hardware obsolete by writing it out of the software. So they obsolete hardware with software to force Apple users to buy new stuff. Hey, that's their marketing plan, and it works great for them because there's millions of people that buy into the deal that every 3 years they have to buy a new $1,000 device. I use Android. They would never be able to get away with that in the Android market because there's way too much competition. But if you have an Apple device, it's an inherent part of your programming and you can get that grid. If you have an Android, we have lots of options. We're not limited by the company that makes our stuff, and we have lots of options. So go out there and I'm using Material Q. So anybody who's using an Android that watches my channel, if you want a grid, Material Q, post questions in YouTube, post a comment in YouTube, and I'll put in the code that I wrote for this grid right here, and then you can fine tune it for your device. All right, that was hole number 1 of the Winter Major in Monday's practice round in the rookie division. Thanks for watching.